Hey guys, I'm the Philosopher, and welcome to the Console Explosion podcast. Hey guys, so this is where we sit down and talk about all the nerd topics that are important to us and really dig into some of the topics and try to figure out what it means for us, and what it can mean for the nerd community, and so much more. Today, our main topic was around Nintendo, specifically the Nintendo NX, kind of being tight-lipped on all the updates on the console, on their new Nintendo NX console, whatever it's going to be called, and then also the Famicom Mini, the Japanese version of the Nintendo NES Mini that they're going to release only in Japan. But before we hop into that topic, we talked a little bit about the new upcoming Power Rangers movie, and we share our thoughts and concerns about that movie, how we feel about it, whether we're looking forward to it or whether we're not looking forward to it. That said, what are you guys thinking about this new trailer? What are your thoughts? Let us know down below. And as always, enjoy the show. Hello, guys. It's the Philosopher, and welcome to the Console Explosion podcast. Tonight, it's mainly Nintendo news, but we figured we'd open up with a little bit of movie news, which is around the new Power Rangers trailer that has dropped. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to that down below. And if you're in the chat, I'll put a link to that in the chat for you guys. And figured we'd just talk about our first impressions of that. This is we're all about the same age, so we kind of grew up with the Power Rangers. At least I know I did. And so just figured I'd see what everyone's thought was about this, and then I'll share my thoughts as well, of course. So who wants to share their thoughts first?
I can go.
Cool. Go for it.
I am somebody who did not watch a ton of Power Rangers as a kid, but I was very familiar with it, and I watched it when I could. We didn't watch that much TV in my house, partially because my dad repaired TV at the spec when you could fix TVs, and so it was kind of like, I have to watch TV and have TVs on all around me all day. Can't really keep this off when I get home and that sort of thing. But I watched it when I could. I thought it was pretty cool. And when I found out that Power Rangers was actually an adaptation of a Japanese television series, I started digging up stuff on Tokusatsu and Kamen Rider and the Super Sentai series and that sort of thing. So when I heard they're making the movie, I like, oh, this will be interesting. It looked like they were sound like they're going to try to do it somewhat serious. I also thought it'd be kind of interesting because to a certain degree, the thought I had was with mainstream audiences is you have to make it somewhat serious if audiences are actually going to come to theaters. You go to audiences, as we learned from the fact that Flash Gordon, the 1980s Flash Gordon movie, is a cult classic, not a big blockbuster hit, and that sort of thing is. Mainstream audiences have a minimal tolerance for camp, and so while the original Power Rangers series was fun, and I liked the Tokusatsu sequence stuff, and even the original Japanese Super Sentai series and Kamen Rider are certainly campy, there is a degree of camp which kids will go with, but if you again it goes to going into the multiplex to see a movie, the tolerance level is a little lower. So having watched the trailer. Keep in mind, it's a teaser trailer, not a full trailer. It looks interesting. It is not being super campy, which is good. However, I don't see enough we haven't seen enough of the movie to say if they're trying to be super serious yet either. I mean, some of the hallmarks of what we get from modern super serious movie productions and stuff are here. Desaturated colors, blue filters over the camera, shooting with the blue filter, so you have that kind of constant twilight look. Constant twilight / perpetually overcast look, which is often a hallmark for a movie that's going for overly serious. But there's enough little comedic notes in there and little callbacks to the series, like the fact that as you approach the end of the trailer, they start doing the opening guitar riff for the song "Go Go Power Rangers." And it's like, okay, this could be doing a good balance. I've heard comparisons made to like the Breakfast Club from people who were reacting to the movie trailer and that sort of thing. And the Breakfast Club is a good balance of serious and silly. It's a bunch of high school kids stuck at school on the weekend goofing around and that sort of thing, but also their serious personal issues and stuff came up as well in the course of that movie. And if they do this right, this could work well. I think what will be the judge for me is when we see Zords and when we see Zords move, because the original Zords, I mean, it was a Japanese tokusatsu series. They were modeling. There was guys in a big rubber suit in an HO scale sort of terrain out of the Godzilla movies, or a la Ultraman. And if they do the movements right, where it does kind of have that upsized big rubber monster look, like with the new Godzilla movie, which I'm seeing this weekend, or to a certain degree, the monsters in the Attack on Titan live action movie, or even what they kind of tried to do with Pacific Rim with the robots in that, then I'm gonna be cool with this. If this movie has Rita Repulsa making her monster grow, and they go in the Zords and they fight it, that would be kind of really done. I've heard some objections to look like the movie has the civilian powers, but I'm kind of okay with that, just so long as like it's clear that the civilian maybe they have some civilian powers, but it's.
Let's be clear to make sure. By civilian powers, you mean that they have super strength outside the suits, is what you mean, right?
Yeah, they have abilities outside the suits, but civilian powers is the sort of Power Rangers fandom term I picked up because I've been watching Linkara's History of Power Rangers series, which is really, really good. And so that having the civilian power is like, oh, they jump over this canyon and that sort of thing. But if it's just like, okay, yeah, they have this outside of the suits, but if they want to be effective against the monsters or the putties or whatever they are when they show up, they have to be in the suits, then hopefully they do that. And like that pretty much covers most of the bases. I will say, like, they've had some really good fight scenes in the US and Japanese Power Rangers series. Again, in the US stuff, like I've seen clips from the US version of Forever Red, from like the civilian fight scene portions of it, where we have the American actors doing fight scenes, and there's some really cool stunts and fight choreography in there. And I hope they have the good sense for this movie for the fight choreography of, we're actually going to have good fight choreography here. We're going to have these guys look good as martial artists and look competent as fighters, and give them an opportunity to look cool doing martial arts fights, not just in the suits. And also, when they're in the suits, they can be martial arts fights. It's not just going to be, shaky cam, Jason Bourne identity style. You can't see what anyone's doing because we're trying to make the fight look chaotic or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't seen any fight scenes yet, so hopefully that'll be really good. What about you, Ian or Tyler? Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think this movie looks by any chance, Michael Bay working on this film?
No, it's actually being produced by Bryan Cranston, like the head guy on top of it.
Yeah. Also, he's Zordon, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
What movies has this guy done?
Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle. What else?
Wait.
Total Recall remake.
Oh wait, he's the guy. Is that the guy who did Zordon? He's doing Zordon this movie.
Yes,
right? I was thinking the director who's directing the film.
Looking that up right now.
Because this looks so Michael Bay-ish, and I'm a bit worried.
Well, you also have to realize it's a kid show adapted to a film, so kind of regardless can look Michael Bay-ish.
Director's
I know, but I think.
Sorry, I have the director's name. Director's name is Dean Israelite, who's from South Africa, despite what you might assume from his name.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I saw that as well. Yeah.
And his previous credits can be basically described as nothing you've ever heard of.
Okay, so we're taking a huge risk on a guy that nobody ever heard of. Okay,
Sounds like it.
Okay, another question. What's my freaking Green Ranger?
Well,
Bro,
Green,
this is the origin story of the Power Rangers.
I
What are you
don't,
talking about?
I don't care. I want my Green Ranger.
well, Green Ranger didn't show up until like season 2 or 3.
2, I believe. And he was freaking badass because, one, not only was he green, he kicked all the Power Rangers' ass, but he had a ponytail.
Well, give him some time, man.
Right.
Okay.
But,
You
like,
gotta have time to grow his ponytail.
Okay.
gotta save it for the sequel.
How we know this? So
we make it.
had he said it's going to be a sequel?
Well, we have to get the box office for this one, but I'm willing to bet there's going to be a post-credit stinger with like Rita recruiting, like picking out her Green Ranger to fight back against the Power Rangers.
Well,
I bet,
wasn't like the fan theory for that, like based on looking at the gear she wears, it looks like it's a broken Power Ranger outfit, is what it kind of looks like. And if you notice, it's also green in color.
Yeah.
So she might be the Green Ranger, so that might give her the ability to make another Green Ranger, so that might be the whole plot twist there.
What a twist!
Just my observation.
She is a Green Ranger.
She could be, yeah.
Yeah. She's not. Was it Lita?
Rita Repulsa.
Rita.
Rita
Repulsa.
yeah, she's very repulsing.
I don't know about all that.
I hope they bring Lord Zed into it. I love that guy.
Lord
Oh, who doesn't?
Z.
That guy is ripped with no skin.
That's muscle, right? Because when I was little, I thought he was nothing but brain.
That's all muscle.
It's all muscle.
That's all muscle.
It's like no brain. It's all muscle.
Okay. Oh, I always assumed when I was little, I was like, yeah, he's nothing but brain.
I think I actually still have his toy in my garage.
I think I used to have his toy too, but
yeah, I still have the second generation Zord in my garage. I still have that with all the pieces to put together.
That's the one where some of the Zords look like shapes, like triangle, star.
No, it's more like it had bigger pieces, like the chest is a big black piece, and like the other creatures are like big black shoulder pads. So it's kind of weird. I don't necessarily remember the specifics. It's
I'm trying to think of what the second revision of the Zords, and I believe it was like shapes and symbols or something.
Well, because you had you had the movie that came off the heels of the show's success, which had the CG ones, which I think
I thought looked good.
Might be what I have as far as toy wise. But then when you go back to the TV show, it goes back to being the guys in suits, and that was always great.
Yeah, because I used to have the complete the Zords when you put them together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Megazord.
Yeah, like I said, but mine were like it wasn't the original, which sucks. But mine was the later Zords, and I remember like one Zord was a star, one was like a rectangular.
Oh, that was Zeo. That was Power Rangers Zeo.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one I had.
That's actually when I started falling out of Power Rangers for a little bit.
I think mine was falling out when it got to the cars because I am not a big fan.
I love Turbo.
Yeah, this Turbo and Lost Galaxy, they completely lost me, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this show anymore.
I fell out with In Space, which is kind of a bummer because having gone back and watched Linkara's history of Power Rangers, In Space is when it started getting really good. I
fell out with Zeo and got back into it after Turbo. Turbo for me was like, amazing.
I think Zeo. Yeah, that's the one where like they got like their outfits got simpler, right? Like they
got shape powers. Yeah, one person had Pink Ranger had a heart, I think. Maybe
they had a Gold Ranger, right?
They had a
Gold Ranger
black and a white Ranger. They had a black and gold one. Yeah. Black and gold.
So speaking of the color of the Rangers, aren't you disappointed that the Black Ranger is not black and the Yellow Ranger is not Asian? And the Red Ranger is not Indian?
I'm kind of glad that they didn't get quite that on the nose.
Yeah. I think they tried to avoid that, to be honest with you.
I don't think that was even intentional in the American TV show.
No,
I think they did it because, like, in Super Sentai, the Yellow Ranger was actually a dude. So they picked in the Japanese version of the show that they cut to make the American show. The Yellow Ranger didn't have a skirt. It was actually a male character in the Japanese program.
Yeah, that's actually what I heard.
Yeah, well, that's the truth. If you if you watch the first episode of Super Sentai, like they kill everybody. It's great. Just like you see like freaking the Pink Rangers getting like headshots with a bow and arrow on the putties, and you see the arrows going through the putties' heads and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, this is a children's TV show.
Damn straight.
Are a lot more mature.
Damn
Than the
when I hear Sentai, my head goes right to hentai.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Well, you said it, not me.
Well, what about you, Ian? Did you? What were your thoughts on this?
Oh, the trailer? I don't know. Like, honestly, like I kind of gave up hope on Power Rangers ever being anything aside from a kids' TV show a long time ago. So I don't know. I never really emotionally invested in it. So I think whatever they do with it in the film, I'm okay with because I don't care. I think it's fun that they're trying to revitalize it and bring it back. So I'm entertained by that. So I'm kind of just excited to see what they're going to do because really, in my mind, they really can't screw this up because Power Rangers has gone through so many different iterations that it's really not a big deal to me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, I think I'm going to go see it in theaters. I think it's going to be middle of the road with the numbers. But just because it is Power Rangers, they kind of have that leeway because there's been so many different iterations. People are going to like it or they're not going to like it just because of what it is.
Well, it seems like they're hitting the base concepts of Power Rangers. They're doing a more mysterious intro than I need 5 kids with attitude.
Well, yeah,
they're doing it. I guess they're 5 kids with attitude, but they're doing it a little more mysteriously. So that's kind of fun in that regard for the film. So it's going to have a kind of a decent origin story in that regard.
You think they're going to have Bulk and Skull in this movie?
I hope so.
I think we see him.
I think the redhead that headbutts
the black guy.
The black guy, yeah, I think he's probably one of the Bulker Skulls.
Yeah, I forget which one is which. The skinny one, obviously.
Bulk is
the big guy,
and Skull's the skinny guy. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's funny. Like those are the only 2 actors that I think actually spanned the entirety of the continuity of the Power Rangers.
They went for a long time.
Bulk and Skull made it all the way to Power Rangers in space. In the Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, was Lost Galaxy like set on a Earth's
first different universe, pretty much.
No, Lost Galaxy was still in the main continuity, but it was set on like Earth's first like big exploration ship, and basically Bulk was running 10 forward on the spaceship.
He was the bartender.
Yeah, he was basically the bartender because like the end of season of In Space had like the aliens coming back and like on Earth invading Earth, and the Power Rangers were nearly beaten, and they demanded, okay, turn over the Power Rangers, or else we will destroy your planet. And Bulk and Skull, because they hero worship the Power Rangers, do the I am Spartacus thing. They'll start doing the I am Spartacus thing.
Well, I actually remember there was actually an episode of Power Rangers where Bulk and Skull, I think they fell into this spell of this dream, and they all dreamed about they were Power Rangers. And if I remember correctly, there was a little symbol with like pizza and I forgot the other one was. A little coin symbol they had. Yeah,
I think that was like season. I think it was either Zeo or the season after Zeo.
They were sleeping in the cabin, hiding from the original, or from the Rangers. Gosh, I'm getting flashbacks. Damn.
And this to me is kind of funny, but speaking of Spartacus, there was a Power Ranger that actually was on Spartacus, and this scarred me. If I was a little bit younger, I would have been scarred by this. But the Red Ranger from Power Rangers RPM, I can't remember his name. I'll look it up in just a little bit. But I can't even pronounce his name. It's Aka Darvel. But he was also on Spartacus, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen that, but he was actually the manservant / sex partner of one of the gladiators from Spartacus. And so it was really weird to see.
You're like, no, my childhood.
Yeah, like in one scene, he's literally getting it up the butt from one of the gladiators from Spartacus. And I'm just like, isn't it the Red Ranger? What is going on here? So, yeah.
I mean, they shoot Spartacus in like Australia and New Zealand. So it's like.
Yeah, this Power Rangers actually took place in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And now that I'm looking at him, I've actually seen him in quite a few shows now that I'm realizing this. I think he was also on Jessica Jones. Yeah, this is the same guy from Jessica Jones.
Yep.
And he was also on one other show. I think he's on a few different shows now that I'm thinking about it. I want to say he was also on Empire. Yep. And a bunch of other stuff. Interesting. But anyways, I'm digressing a little bit. I really hope it looks like they're really trying to go back to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like obviously they have Zordon. Alpha was cast. I don't recognize the name, but to me it's very nostalgic. I'm gonna go watch it probably with my girlfriend if she comes, and just I don't want to compare it to the old one, but I know I'm going to, and everyone else is going to. But I just hope that this really, I don't know. I just hope it doesn't fuck it up for the new kids. It's the best way that I can put it. I don't know how that would be, but
they'd be pissed as hell. What the fuck is this shit?
Well, I'll say that because Power Rangers has been doing constantly shifting continuity. Like they've been really taking the Super Sentai model of reset the continuity every season, pretty much, with occasionally a crossover movie released to Netflix or direct to video or whatever. So it's the kind of situation where the kids can probably not worry about it too much. I'd probably compare it to use the Japanese equivalent. There was a movie several years ago called Kamen Rider the First.
yeah.
Which was basically a reboot, sort of a reimagining of the original Kamen Rider story with Shocker and that sort of thing. And when I like to think of this series as basically being Power Rangers the First.
Yeah.
Or this movie is Power Rangers the First, so hopefully this plays that off fairly well.
Hopefully that's the case.
But something to expand on here really quick. What I find intriguing, the director they have, let's see here, Dean Israelite.
Yep.
It seems like he's done, what's intriguing is his background. He's done like a fair number of action films, because I guess he was the assistant to the director of Battle of Los Angeles, Lieberman, which is the guy who did, I think he directed the first Ninja Turtles movie, the new one, with Michael Bay being the executive producer on it. So at least with that, the guy has a background in doing action. So you know what he's doing there. It looks like he also did Project Almanac, which was kind of one of those random films that I didn't bother watching because I thought it looked odd. But it definitely had that kind of action-y vibe to it. But yeah. So it seems like he's got potential as far as what he knows, at least his background and other projects he's worked on. So he has some background.
And I mean, for what it's worth, like the director of District 9 came basically out of nowhere. I mean, we knew about the Halo short film. He'd done a couple other short film projects before he got picked to direct the Halo movie that never came about.
That sucked too.
Well, but ultimately we got District 9, and District 9 was great. I enjoyed Elysium. It certainly had its faults, but I enjoyed Elysium.
And Chappie.
Chappie was great.
Yeah, I've not seen Chappie. I've been meaning to.
It's like a much darker version of Short Circuit.
Yes,
that's what I've heard.
that's the best way to describe it. But it's pretty solid. It's enjoyed. I think is it Blumenkampf? Is that his name?
Yeah, Neil Blumenkampf.
Yeah. He's a solid director.
Wolverine plays a good asshole in that movie.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, with his competing project that he wants to get money for it. I remember that.
Yeah, it's like a Minotaur or something crazy like that. Bull, I don't know. Yeah, he plays a really good ass in that movie. Mm-hmm. You really should see it. If you like,
he does.
If you like District 9, you'll like it. It's kind of the same sort of theme.
Is that a fake documentary movie or something?
No.
Well, he's halfway right.
District 9 has elements of documentary in it because it's kind of shot from. It has like a perspective where it is a documentary initially, then it shifts over to like following the story like it's when it's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
it's actually a really well balanced mix of things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the found footage can get very jarring at times in normal movies, but they did a good job of really balancing it.
Okay, about to say I did hear about the movie, but I never seen it.
Check it out, especially if you
District 9.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Stop what you're doing right now. Leave. Go find whatever video store that still exists. And go watch it.
Actually, I won't be surprised if we actually own it because I remember seeing my little brother watching it.
Do it. Yeah, check it out. It's really good.
No,
I definitely recommend it.
Okay, next I gotta see the Alien movie.
Yeah, but anyway, Power Rangers should be fun. I think it has potential. I'm not invested. I'm not invested too much in it. I can't think of. I don't think I've met anyone in the last 20 years that was like all about Power Rangers that wasn't like an 8-year-old. So I think
I know some people. That,
I do.
Really?
Mhm.
I have a good friend who follows Power Rangers, not because he wants to, because he has to, because he has like a bunch of nieces and nephews living with him.
Oh, okay.
he's like, they better not screw this up. They
Yeah.
better not.
Yeah.
When you
he
said
al-
he has to, I got kind of scared. I was like, oh my god, he's like compelled by the devil to have to watch.
No, he has to because
The power of Haim Saban compels you.
So it's like he's forced to watch the new. Actually, I don't know the one I'm thinking of. He did show me the new TMNT show. It didn't look too bad. I actually like to see more of it though.
Oh, the new Nickelodeon cartoon.
Yeah, it was CGI, and I watched the episode he showed me. I'm like, man, this is not too bad. I want more.
Yeah, like
No,
from what I
yeah.
understand, from like 2003 on, from the Fox 2003 TMNT animated series, generally the cartoon, the televised turtles have generally been a little bit better than stuff we've been getting from movies and that sort of thing. Because like the 2003 one stuck remarkably close to the comics for a show that was on broadcast television.
I think we're getting off topic now.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, so I was just saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. Sorry to change the subject, but did Jared actually like the Ninja Turtles movie? I can't remember.
I thought the first one was okay. I haven't seen the
Really?
second one yet.
God,
Yeah,
it was
Jared,
just
did you like it?
Movie. I don't know if it's in the chat, but it was so boring. Holy crap! That doesn't-
I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it was okay.
I
Not
The
even Marv
fact
Casey
that
Jones.
April O'Neil named the turtles in the film, you're like, why did they need to know each other? Why was that
Yeah.
even important? But
Yeah,
sorry.
I did a podcast on that a while back, and I was not impressed.
I didn't like the.
Oh, I think he did like it, according to him. He said this will not live up. Well, he said this will not live up to the TMNT movies with Megan Fox. I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not. I can never tell.
I think
I can never tell, yeah.
he's probably saying this movie was garbage, and this garbage won't live up to this garbage. This movie,
that sounds about accurate.
yeah.
You know, my flaming pile of garbage is better than your flaming pile of garbage.
I think Jared is kind of like a forever nude. Only he's a forever sarcastic. Like that's kind of how I see him. Like I don't know if you guys know what a forever nude is, or never nude. Sorry, never nude, never serious. There we go. I messed it up.
Forever nude, yeah.
forever, he's a
nudist.
forever nude. No, never
The
nude.
nudist.
But I guess moving on to the NX, I guess.
Yeah. So that's where our main topic is Nintendo essentially, and I have mixed feelings about this whole article. I read this. I think it was it's bouncing all over, but essentially it's talking about Nintendo being more vocal with their NX news. People have been really voicing their opinions about having more information on the Nintendo NX, and Nintendo has said that they're going to vow to share more information about the Nintendo NX this year, and they've kind of been under wraps for various reasons about like not causing any disruption and stuff along those lines, but. I don't know. That's really interesting. I know. Ian, you had a few things that you were talking about off the show. If you want to open with that.
Oh, when you sent me this this article, I thought it was going to be an online petition or something like that, where people were demanding that Nintendo release information about the NX, and I was thinking, like, what is it about our generation and doing online petitions?
I don't know. I'm always signing them though.
Yeah, I'm just like I was just interested, but yeah, it is kind of intriguing that Nintendo definitely kept everything close to their chest as far as revealing a lot of NX stuff. So it's been a really interesting ride with that.
Yeah, and the problem I have is that, and I get this from the consumer's perspective, but if someone is not ready to release information, I don't think people should demand it of them. And while it isn't a petition, it's just people have been voicing their opinions. It's just like and this is different than the Pokemon Go situation. Like the game's already out, you're trying to keep people informed, but this is something that's not out. Nobody's investing any money. I don't think you can even. I might be wrong, but I don't think you can pre-order it yet. There's no money being thrown at this thing, and people are just like going apeshit bananas about the Nintendo NX and the lack of information. And I just, as someone who's worked on projects, it's just really irritating when they feel obligated to talk. Now, at the same time, they are a company, they are a big brand, so they do want to appease their viewers or buyers or consumers. But the issue I have with that is that they're kind of forcing people to come up with things that they want to talk about when they don't feel comfortable about doing it. And that, I feel like that causes a little bit of friction. It forces people to have like half-baked release, like press releases and stuff like that. And all these deadlines. Like, I hate deadlines that are forced. Like, I think deadlines are very important when it comes to certain things, but when something's not ready, it's not ready. And Nintendo has been very good about sharing information when it's ready.
Well, then they shouldn't have announced the launch date then. They announced the launch date, and we still know nothing about the console. Maybe they should have.
When's the launch date?
March
17th? Okay.
Yeah, right after the end of their around the end of their fiscal year in March 2017. So my suspicion, thinking strictly mercenary standpoint, on why this is, as far as why they're being particularly quiet about this. If I was going to be full cynical, it's they don't want to undermine sales for this holiday season. Because, according to all the rumors, the NX is a hybrid console and handheld. And we're in a situation coming up toward this holiday season where there's still 3DSs in the pipeline. There's still Wii U's in the pipeline. And there's still games for those systems in the pipeline. And I can see the worry on the consumer end of, if I buy a Wii U or a 3DS or a 3DS game for my friend or relative or what have you, or myself, this holiday season, am I going to end up getting something which, when the NX comes out, will be rendered totally obsolete if I buy a copy of, for example, Dragon Quest IX for the 3DS. When the NX comes out, will Dragon Quest IX play on the 3DS? Will Dragon Quest IX play on the NX? Or have I bought something which is completely unplayable on the new console, and now I'm going around juggling my NX on the go and also my 3DS if I want to keep playing Dragon Quest IX, or what have you?
Let's just do what I do. Which game do you want to play the most at the moment? Okay, pick that system.
I guess that's a really good point, Alex, because one of the things I read about was that one of the things that kind of doomed the Dreamcast in its during its life cycle was the fact that a Sega president was like, yeah, this is going to be our last hardware system. And that kind of caused people to lose interest in it a little bit, because they're like, oh, if Sega's out of the game, what's the point in looking at the Dreamcast, really?
Oh.
So that would make a lot of sense in the sense that Nintendo wants to get as much life out of its products as possible. Yeah, if it's going to be a hybrid system, that kind of eliminates their entire 3DS market and the Wii U market almost overnight, because consumers will end up just waiting for the NX instead of buying the Wii U or the 3DS this Christmas. Yeah. That's actually a really good assumption.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, again, there's not a lot of information to go by. My logic, I guess, because I'm a little bit cynical and I've worked in retail with video games for so long, my logic is, and this kind of screws over the developer, or the company, but just wait until you get more information and then buy it then. I don't get the people who have to have things on release day anymore. I do get it, but at the same time, I mean, it's your money. Just wait until you hear better reviews or you have actual stats and things like that. Because, I mean, your DS isn't going to just break when the NX comes out. I totally get the logic, but I kind of agree with Tyler on that part. Not disregarding what you said completely, but I mean, while I'm not a big handheld guy, I don't have this issue, but I play what I want to play regardless. If I feel like playing my Super Nintendo, I'll bust that out and play my Super Nintendo. You don't have to.
I do.
I
do. Do I want to play the Game Gear or do I want to play the Vita?
Which dead system do you want to play today?
Oh, shots fired.
Hey, the Vita is still being supported more than you realize.
I own a Vita and a 3DS. I'm making fun. I kid because I love.
I tried the 3DS. I still get pissed at this. Okay, I have all these like Dead or Alive games, right? And I thought to myself, there's no way they can ever screw up Dead or Alive. I get that's the first game I got for my 3DS, Dead or Alive, and they fucked it up. They fucked it up.
Well, there's Miyazaki there working on the boob physics anymore.
Taven, you know Dead or Alive. Okay, you know Tag Team, right?
Wait, you really thought a fighting game was going to be solid on a handheld?
Well,
only one I know, the Darkstalkers.
I was just.
Here's the thing. No, it's a good fighting game on the handheld. What really pissed me off though was the fact when you tag out, you don't control the second character. The AI does. Yes.
What? That's really dumb.
It was so fucking dumb. I was so freaking pissed. So if I want to win this fight, I have to do all the fighting because the AI is not going to do shit.
Are you sure there's like an option in a menu?
No, I checked it. Unless they updated it without my knowing. No, there's not an option for it.
He checked that.
So random thought though is if the NX is going to be a hybrid handheld / TV game system, it's like it's going to be relatively. It would have to be drastically underpowered in comparison to the Xbox One or the PS4.
Yes, they said it's going to be underpowered.
Well, that seems like I don't know. I don't understand why that's what they're doing. I don't know. I guess Nintendo is kind of at the point now where
they don't give a fuck.
Instead of playing for power, they're playing for gaming experience. I guess is what they're doing. So they want to have that kind of appeal to everybody. But I don't know. This seems kind of risky. But then again, Nintendo's done really dumb things in the past, like i.e. the Virtual Boy. So I guess it's kind of their experimenting, but I can't imagine. Was the Wii U at all successful as a system, or has it just?
No, it failed. Which it was a sad because it's the first Nintendo system I actually liked since Super Nintendo.
I think the thing with Nintendo, as far as where they're at now, is they know that their strength now is in brands and brand experiences. And it's like, okay, if you want a Legend of Zelda style of game, there are other companies who will make Zelda style games, like Darkstalkers and that sort of thing. But
really? Darkstalkers is a Zelda game?
Not Darkstalkers.
Magic and Nightway Earth. That's kind of like a Zelda game.
Darksiders.
Okay.
Yeah, Darksiders.
There you go.
It's a Zelda style game, but if you want. You'll only ever get a Legend of Zelda game through Nintendo. You'll only ever get Mario through Nintendo, and Mario platformers they look and feel and play a certain way, and so there's the question. So with the NX platform, okay, we'll always get if you want a tuned Mario game, you have to go to the Nintendo platform to get there. Yeah, sure, you may get the Mario Runner or whatever on your iOS device, but it's not going to be a proper Mario platformer, like a structured, designed platformer. In the same way, it won't be the same thing as a Legend of Zelda game, even if they put like a Zelda roguelike on the iPad.
Yeah. And the problem I see with that, though, is that that's only going to take Nintendo or any company so far when they're relying more on the brand of iconic characters and iconic games more than trying to innovate and improve. I do think... Now, I haven't played any of the new Mario games, obviously, because they're not out. The new Zelda games and such. I've kind of fallen out of Nintendo because I feel like they're kind of trying too hard to be very gimmicky. Like, I don't like the Wii U. I think the only game I play is Smash Brothers. I play that almost every week, and it's a great game. They make some really quality games, and the problem isn't necessarily the hardware, although I do think they should be trying to compete hardware-wise because of various reasons. But the issue, I feel, is that they're trying too hard to rely on the brand experience and also almost a gimmick experience, like all these weird things they're trying to do. And I don't necessarily disagree with them doing that approach because gaming as we know it is constantly changing, and I think they want to get ahead of that curve, and they definitely have influenced the direction of gaming. The Wii, while it wasn't a success, did influence the way gaming should be done, because you have both companies, Sony and Xbox, moved towards motion gaming after the Wii. So whether it was the Wii that started it or not, they were the ones that made it popular.
Certainly.
And
I could actually probably make a case that the developments towards motion gaming that the Wii promoted led us to our current state of where we are in virtual reality gaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the Virtual Boy was just a little bit... The idea was better than the implementation. And again, they weren't the ones to invent VR, but they made an effort to do it, and they were just a little bit too early on the execution. We're not ready for that. Hardware was not there yet. And now VR is potentially the future. And I'm surprised that Nintendo is not trying to get back on that horse, but maybe they're a little bit burnt from their experience with the Virtual Boy. Can't blame them on that.
Well, here's something that's kind of intriguing. Like, if you want to look at like the success of Nintendo consoles, the Wii sold over 100 million units.
All right.
So I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy for just the Wii. I mean, the Wii U has only sold about 13 million, but for an installed player base, that's enough to give it a system kind of longevity.
However, the catch that we had with the Wii was you have a pretty strong install base, but then the question is you need to have an install base that will buy additional software.
Yeah.
And that was where the weakness was. Is people bought tons of Wiis to play Wii Sports and Wii Bowling and Wii Tennis. I mean, there's all the news stories about retirement homes that were buying Wiis for their community areas to keep the seniors active. And problem is they're just playing Wii Sports.
But on the plus side, though, Nintendo was the only company in the console wars that was actually selling their units at a profit. They weren't selling them at a loss. So that, I guess that was beneficial for them in that regard.
Yeah. And they also created this artificial drought of consoles. They tend to do that. And I think that helps their numbers rise as well. Because the Wii was really notorious about that. You couldn't find a Wii anywhere because they only made so many and they stopped. They did the same thing with the Wii U, because I remember working at Nintendo when I came out, and they only sent us like a handful of them to even start with. So it wasn't like they were selling so many they couldn't get off the shelves. They had a constant demand for these consoles because they could never keep enough on the shelves. And I think that artificial drought really helped the popularity, because people want what they can't have. And some people might disagree with that, but I saw it happen again and again with a lot of Nintendo. Nintendo was consistently doing that with a lot of their things. The only other company that really did that was Activision with Skylanders. They would only send a limited amount, and it created this frustratingly artificial drought on getting the specific characters, on getting the game itself. So people would always come in and they would yell at us because we didn't have it in stock, as if we were the ones that could magically pop up like, hey, Activision, send us more Skylanders because these crazy parents want their kids to shut the hell up. And so the best way they can get their kids to shut the hell up is by getting this game because they're great parents.
No, you can tell the kids about how marketing works.
I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. My mother worked at Toys R Us during the Tickle Me Elmo release.
Oh, God,
oh my God, yes.
And the Tamagotchi release.
Oh, Jesus Christ. She's been through some shit. She's seen some things.
Yes, she's seen things you people wouldn't believe. Drop ships on fire off the shoulders of Orion.
So speaking of Nintendo, though, actually, Ian kind of brought this to my attention, but I know we have a little bit of Nintendo Mini news.
Yeah, because you have the NES Mini, and now they're doing the Famicom Mini, apparently.
I heard a little bit about this. I hadn't seen the game link or anything, game list or anything like that. I heard a bit about it. I was listening to Pat the NES Punk's podcast actually on my way home from work, and he was talking about a bit there.
Yeah, I guess.
So does anybody know the difference between these two?
Okay, which one? Wait, the difference
overall visual aesthetic. The NES is like the front loader, with the spring-loaded trap. So it's like the North American release model, where the Famicom one is like the Japanese release. So it's kind of the little box with the top loader and the red.
I have an example. You want me to show
I can pull it out.
I have an article. I have an article I posted in the chat with the link to the NES Mini and a picture and the game.
I have that same one pulled up. Yep.
From Engadget. But yeah, there are some different stuff here. Like it's got Lattice No Nazo. It's got Solomon's Key on there.
Danky Kang.
It's got It's got
Here you go.
Yo,
We got
this has River City Ransom on it.
yes, it has River City Ransom. However, it has one. The Famicom Mini has, and they mentioned this on Pat the NES Punk's podcast, the Necessary podcast. Two, I think, critical flaws. One, as with the original Famicom,
right here.
Yep, like that one there. The controllers are hardwired to the unit. Problem number two, the controllers are really tiny. They're like even Donald, like for the Famicom Mini, the controllers are super tiny. Like Donald Trump would find the controllers too small for his baby hands.
You know, I think they're probably just right.
Here's a question. Here's a question though. Well, one of the controllers will have a microphone.
It won't. They're talking about how it wouldn't, because they're thinking how great that would be, but apparently it will not.
Which is a shame because the Famicom Mini has the Famicom Disk System version of Legend of Zelda on it. Yep. Which one of the things on there is one of the enemies in the game you could beat by shouting into the microphone.
Oh.
Yep.
Huh.
And here's the disk system, by the way, if you want to see that.
Yep.
Dang. Oh, sorry. Hold on. There we go.
I don't know, what I find kind of funny is like the Japanese Famicom just looks like so much like a toy to me.
That was the whole gimmick.
I know. That's why I'm actually kind of happy they changed the one for North America, just because it looks more like an entertainment device versus like a kid's toy.
The one problem with the Famicom, with the NES compared to the Famicom, and I've experienced this with my Retron 5, which is a top loader, is because they designed the NES to look like a VCR, and to work like a VCR, you have to press it down. Which the VCR, when you push the tape in, it automatically.
The pins will bend.
Yep, the pins will bend, and they had to make to make this concept work, they had to make the cartridges much bigger, as opposed to the Famicom cartridges, which were a bit more of a reasonable size and like about comparable in dimensions to like a cassette tape.
They didn't want you to import their games.
And well, not just didn't want you to import the games. Part of the whole conceit was to get around the whole thing of, oh, this isn't a top-loading video game system like the 2600, the Intellivision, and the ColecoVision, which crashed the market and left us with all this unsold inventory. This is, particularly considering that the NES was originally sold with Rob, this is like Teddy Ruxpin. This is, you have the robotic operating buddy and the Nintendo Entertainment System, which plays game tapes, which work with the robotic operating buddy. That's how they got it in
Toys R Us,
in Toys R Us, and FAO Schwartz, and all those other retailers back in the day. And then once they got it on those store shelves, and once they started getting it in homes, getting positive buzz, then you go, okay, we're dropping Rob. We're just marketing the system. We're going to focus more on the games for that system.
Really, what I loved about Rob was even back in the 80s, he made a horrific grinding noise when he was brand new.
Oh yes, I remember watching the Good Intentions series that Jeremy Parrish does, where he said some video footage he just recorded of the Rob, and it's like, oh my god, it sounds like it's going to break at any time.
Yeah, like I have one here, and oh my god, it's scary sounding. But there was even a problem in the 80s though, when they were brand new. They sounded terrifying, like as far as like the grinding plastic noise.
I still don't have a Rob. I'm still looking for one. It would be nice to have the whole set, but I know it's going to be expensive now.
Yeah, they're getting up there now.
Since they're all breaking and everything. Because
all according to plan.
There was only one time. There was only one. Okay, I see one Rob every year, but here's the thing: I can't buy it because that Rob belongs to the Arcade Expo people, and they always bring Rob out to say, "Hey, Arcade Expo's over here through this door." I always ask them every year, "Can I buy that Rob?" The answer is always no.
Why don't you just buy one off Amazon or eBay?
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't really afford it at the moment.
No.
That's fair.
I'm trying to save for something big. I saw this 4K camera that's under $1,000. I wouldn't mind getting that.
Yeah.
That's
a good investment.
Yeah,
Man.
Make your show pretty.
yeah. Mostly because I want to use it for green screen, so it'll be for zooming purposes.
But
Fancy.
I guess like the Famicom Mini started to change the subject on you. I guess
That's okay.
it's kind of fun because that's like a. Are they selling that one? Going to be selling that one in the North American market, or is that going to be more of a Europe and?
I don't think they will, to be honest. I don't think Europe will get the Famicom either, since they got the regular Nintendos just like us.
Yeah, they got the front loaders like us, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. It might be fun if they do sell them here just for gimmick purposes. I think collectors would be interested in them.
Yeah, it says according to this from Engadget, it says however they are going to be in Japanese, so you might want to brush up on your Nihongo, which is Japanese. Yeah. But it's going to be around $59, and then you'll have to shell out an extra $10 or more for the AC adapter, though not to mention the shipping fee.
Wait, you have to pay more for AC adapter?
Well, the Famicom Mini, like the NES Mini, runs off USB. So theoretically, if you want a USB wall adapter, I presume it's going to be probably a special USB wall adapter that maybe looks like the NES, the Famicom power plug. I don't know.
Oh my. Seriously?
But aren't like all USBs like 2.1 amps? So wouldn't it work with pretty much any standard cell phone charger?
Yeah, it probably would, but this is probably like if we're getting your money out of the nostalgia on this side.
Oh yeah, just having a power brick that looked like the old one would be. They should make it like the same size so it's impractical to put on things.
Here's my thinking on this, or my question and thoughts is this is only coming out in America, and to me, I have to compare the list of games that are going to be on the Nintendo Mini or whatever, the NES Mini versus this one. But there's some games on here I would rather have. I want to do a side-by-side comparison, but in my opinion, I'd like to know you guys' thoughts on this, also in the comments. But don't you think they would benefit from actually translating some of these games and making the Famicom for America and introducing us to games that we never had a chance to play except for via emulator?
No, I'll say that of some of these, we either got them in the U.S. already, like the Downtown Nenketsu, basically
Monogatari. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Ruthlessly Ransom. There was also the Downtown Nenketsu Shosenkoyu. I'm probably mangling this, and I apologize to any Japanese listeners and viewers. Soreyuki Dai Undokai. That one, I believe the one that is Crash and the Boys Street Challenge, for the U.S. release.
Oh god! Please tell me it has Takeshi's Challenge on it.
No, it does not have Takeshi's Challenge. Takeshi's Challenge, you have to have the microphone in order for it.
Yeah, good point.
What game is this? Crash and the Boys Street Challenge?
Yeah. So like some of these, like we got in the U.S. already, like actual cartridge release, like Crash and the Boys Street Challenge, maybe just in a different title. Some of these are games which were released to different companies, which is why they're probably rights issues. Like I believe Double Dragon, Double Dragon 2, because that was released by Trade West, which is up in the air as far as the legal status of the company. But others of these, like Solomon's Key, I think we got a U.S. release of that, and even if it wasn't, we didn't. There's no translation needed. Yeah, we did get a U.S. release of Solomon's Key. Final Fantasy III, arguably, we actually got a better version of that on the 3DS, on the Nintendo DS, and on the and on cell phones and on the PC.
Yeah, but I have it on Famicom, so no need for me to get it.
Fancy.
So, fun fact, going to our current console generation, I was just looking at numbers here. The Xbox One has only sold 10 million units.
That's no surprising.
That's really intriguing, though, considering the PS4 has sold about 43 million. So the Wii U is actually beating the Xbox One currently in console sales.
Yeah.
But it's no surprise, especially when they first announced the Xbox Ones with all these restrictions. And yeah, I got literally pissed. I literally got pissed. And
do you enjoy playing your games at 900p instead of 1080p?
No, I was pissed because they want restriction. They want us to have the what we call it, the little camera thing.
Oh, yeah,
the Kinect.
The Kinect.
Connect and
use sale restriction, which, by the way, was the most brilliant response to that from Sony.
Sony.
Ever. Yes,
Okay.
with the use games tutorial video.
Step 1. Thanks.
That was because the Xbox One was going to have the internet lockout shit on it.
They put that video on the same day when they announced the PS4. It was right on YouTube. That was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me this video because I don't know what you're talking about.
Remember back when the Xbox One was coming out, they were talking about having where when you unlocked a game, you had to have constant internet access to play it, so they could verify that
24/7.
To verify that you were the owner of the game. And so Sony came out and was like, "Let's show you what happens how you loan a game to a friend on the PS4." And he literally just hands a game to his buddy, and his buddy's just like, "Thank you," and he walks away.
Yes, I didn't know about this. I wish I had known about that.
Sony slapping Microsoft in the face makes me chuckle.
Here's this thing: if the Xbox One thing still like the little DRM thing, you think it would have been ruined right away with all those what do you call those people who attack servers?
DOS?
Yeah, DOS. Was it DOS?
DDoS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that thing going off constantly with everyone's Xboxes?
Absolutely. If there's one thing we've learned from just MMO launches is that on launch day, when your system comes out, no matter how much traffic you've done, no matter how much you stress test your servers, it will not withstand the constant incoming internet traffic of launch day. And so you would have very likely had a Christmas morning where people plugged in their Xbox Ones after opening them, went to play their first game, it went to the server to authenticate the copy of the game, and said, "Nope! Copy in the drive. Yeah, it's brand new. You just cracked the shrink wrap, but nope, you can't play this brand new game."
This is really funny to think that the Xbox One has currently sold less than the Sega Master System.
Whoa!
Yeah, right? So that's impressive.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know it's still in its lifespan, but that's still kind of sad considering how long ago that came out.
Master System did not do that well.
Yeah, it only sold about 13 million units worldwide, which it's funny because it's still beating the Xbox One.
Well, have you ever seen the lines for the Xbox One release in Japan?
There were lines?
Probably weren't any.
No, there weren't. Yeah, there weren't any. There was like two people.
Well, Xbox system has never really done well in Japan. The original Xbox didn't. The Xbox 360 didn't. American consoles in general have had difficulty breaking into the Japanese market, with perhaps the exception of the Intellivision, because I believe the Intellivision did fairly well. But after the Intellivision, everything pretty much kind of Japanese consumers tended to favor Japanese-made consoles.
But it was American arcade games did pretty well, and then they tended to pirate the crap out of us and make copies of them. So that was always kind of intriguing. But
those bastards.
Well, it was ultimately for the Japanese. It was funny because when Breakout came out, it was kind of a global sensation, and I think Namco had the distribution rights in Japan, and Atari only sent them 200 cabinets. And Namco's like, this is bullshit. There's a lot of piracy going on of our cabinets here. You need to send us more, or let me make them. So the Atari guy, apparently Nolan Bushnell, was out drinking and partying and doing coke, and the president of Namco was like, hey, I need to do this, and then Nolan Bushnell's like, like that, literally, and the president of Namco's like, I'll take that as a yes. And then he just went and started building his own Breakout cabinets and putting them all over Japan to basically destroy the piracy problem he was having. But then that ultimately caused a fissure between them and Atari.
Atari was known for partying, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
they were absolutely
rock stars.
That's what they did in the 80s, man. They just did coke and
LSD, coke, all that good stuff. Acid.
Well, what's even funnier is that all of the Atari projects were actually named after attractive Atari employees. So, people say the Stella chip that eventually powered the 2600 was named after one of the engineers' bikes, but in all likelihood, it was probably named after an attractive Atari female employee.
The receptionist.
Well, because apparently that's what they were doing. Is like, I guess there was one instance where Nolan Bushnell had a corporate meeting at his house
in a hot tub.
In a hot tub, yeah, and the lawyers were having it. They were standing outside the hot tub in their suits and like getting the paperwork all wet and pissing off the lawyers. And I'm like, man, how did they not get like sued for sexual harassment? But then again, it was the '80s.
That
sounds like a movie.
That's how they discovered the name of the joystick. It was in a hot tub.
But yeah, it was very much the '80s, the '70s and '80s. In a nutshell, was '70s and '80s in a nutshell is cocaine and hot tubs.
Yeah. Like, I swear, it's called the Ultimate Video Game Guide. I just finished that book, and that one covers it quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ultimate History of Video Games. That book is good. I have the Kindle copy of that. There's actually an audiobook of it, which I listen to through Audible. My one complaint I have with the audiobook is like it has some like they get the name pronunciations right, but like they have some game mispronunciations, and some of these like are the kinds of game mispronunciations which we mispronounced as kids but figured out like in middle school, like Legend of Cage. Like I listened to the book and I heard the reader go, instead of Legend of Kage, Legend of Cage. And I like face palmed on the bus. Like, really? When was this audiobook recorded? Because
they're probably a parent.
What's funny about that was that book, even though it's a pretty like well-regarded book, it actually was published in like 2002 before the Xbox came out.
Yeah.
So it ends right around like when the Dreamcast was just finishing its run. And what's intriguing is there's another book that came out I think 2 years ago called The Rise and Fall of Sega Tilt Service Games. And that one goes into so much depth about Sega, and I was kind of disappointed that the Ultimate History of Video Games didn't really go into the depth that book did. But I guess the Service Games book is so good in comparison to explaining what Sega was thinking and why they did what they did. It's amazing.
Well, Ultimate History of Video Games is such a broad overview of the game industry, where it's I can understand missing out important information from the history of Sega, because you're not just because you have to cover the rise and fall of Atari and Coleco and television.
Nintendo fall of Atari with
TurboGrafx.
I was disappointed you didn't talk about some of Atari's misfires, like the Atari XE and stuff. So I was like, damn it, come on.
Well, let's talk more of the PC side of things. There was recently a really good video that goes in. It was on a YouTube. I forget who does this. It was one of the guys who's with Console Xplosion now, talking about the Atari ST and Jack Tramiel. When he came on board of Atari Home Computing, and
Jack Tramiel was the founder of Commodore, by the way, if you didn't know.
Yeah. And basically the Atari ST versus Amiga war. With basically, or rather, the Commodore Amiga war. It's basically Tramiel in charge of Atari taking on his old company and basically trying to get his revenge
for getting forced out
for being a dick.
Oh God, the fact that Commodore would take orders from people. No, they would buy a product from people and then never pay them, and wait for that company to fold and then buy them after bankruptcy took them. I'm like, what the hell? Commodore was run by horrible people.
Savagery. Wow, that's like
that is a real thing that happened.
Corporations. Holy
shit. So people did not want to deal with Commodore towards the end.
Damn, Commander. I got a question a bit off topic, well, more on topic, but I would like to know your thoughts on the topic.
We're off topic by going on topic.
But do you think we're going to see more of these mini consoles coming up, like a Nintendo Mini 2 with other preloaded games, or a Super Nintendo?
I think you're already seeing it, to be honest, because recently you had the ColecoVision Mini come out, you had the Intellivision Mini come out, and then you've had the Sega Minis for a while coming out.
Oh yeah,
there's Nintendo Mini right now, Mini 2.
No, like
to be a top loader.
We've had tons of like the various Intellivision and NES and Intellivision and Sega and Atari 2600 minis for quite some time, where it's basically just for those ones it was like a controller or a small console-esque thing that plugged into your composite, your your composite video ports. Maybe if you're lucky, it supports S-video.
Yeah, actually, I had one of those. Yeah,
I have the Sega one, which is right over there. It sucks.
However, I can see if the NES Mini picks up, we might get more stuff like this with more HDMI outside kind of stuff. I'd be interested to see if we perhaps get like a officially licensed Genesis on a chip version of the little Genesis Mini that we've had earlier with an HDMI out.
God, that would rule.
And possibly with some sort of overlay functionality. I could even see them doing something like taking the there was the PlayStation 3, I think got it in storage right now, Genesis game collection with like 30 or something games or like 50 something games. The like Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, I believe it was called, for the PS3. I could see them. Yeah, I have that too. I have the platinum trophy on that. The first platinum trophy I got. I could see them doing something like that with, like just take all the games on that, put it on a device on a chip. You can test it on a chip with HDMI out, let you navigate the menus and that sort of stuff, and then maybe also having a cartridge slot on there as well. Maybe just as you go, oh, you like the NES Mini? Here's one for the Genesis, and it's got a cartridge slot. So if you want to play more games. Because at least I think now still Genesis games cartridges are still a little bit cheaper on average than Super Nintendo cartridges.
Yeah.
Yes, they are actually.
And, yeah, you guys actually raised a good point I hadn't thought about, because I actually bought one of these from Mom. I think it was a Namco one, where it's basically like a little arcade cabinet controller and a bunch of preloaded games. So it isn't anything new. Handheld things have been doing this for a while. So it makes me wonder, why is this all of a sudden just popping up from Nintendo? Like, why are they all of a sudden just doing this?
Quick buck.
They need the money for the NX system.
they don't need the money.
Actually, they do.
No.
I bet they're doing a horrible job. Like, okay, we need quick buck for.
Considering that with their Pokemon property alone, they make about $1 billion a year. They're fine.
Yeah, and Nintendo's publicly traded in the U.S. and Japan, so their financials are in the open, as opposed to Konami, who deliberately closed their U.S. offices so they wouldn't have to disclose their as much financial information anymore.
Hashtag fuck Konami.
Yeah, fuck Konami. What the fuck they're doing?
So for the NES Mini, I think it was a certain degree to capitalize on the nostalgia boom. They've probably noticed, hey, lots of people are downloading issues of Nintendo Power Magazine online. Copies of used NES cartridges are going for large sums of money to such a degree that it's a news story that these cartridges are making large sums of money. I wouldn't be surprised if partly what brought this on is like some executive, some senior VP or what have you, or VP at Nintendo, maybe Nintendo of America, maybe Nintendo of Japan, saw a Huffington Post article of, or Mashable article of these 25 Nintendo games from your youth are selling for massive amounts of money,
which is total BS.
They're all total BS when they do articles like that. Like there was a GameSpot article which was somewhat well researched that they discussed on the Completely Necessary podcast. But anyway, the point is they see the article like, oh, there is an actual real untapped market for nostalgia. We can get in on that and rather than having people licensing the chip technology or operating off of our now open patents for the NES hardware technology, we can just get that money ourselves through the games that we own, or we can get licenses for through the Virtual Console service or whatever to make this NES Mini hardware, and we could put out a better product, or what we think is a better product, and also tap this market for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I guess I will pass that question on to the viewers then. What do you guys think about this whole Nintendo Famicom mini sort of thing? I mean, I'm a big emulator guy, so I get my games first, and then I get the emulator, of course. You know, I do things legit.
Wait, you said you get the games, then the emulator?
Yeah, of course.
Why get the emulator at all if you got the game?
Tyler doesn't get what I'm saying. I'm just covering my tracks so that I don't get in trouble, basically. But no, I just personally I I don't really care too much about it. Like the games on there are great, but I feel like they've kind of missed the bus on that. I don't know how the sales are going to be with that, but long story short, I'd like to know what you guys think about this whole mini thing. And with that, I will go down the line and let you know where you can find these fine gentlemen here, starting with Alex.
All right, you can find me at consoleexplosion.com as well as at my YouTube channel, link below on the screen, youtube.com/user/count0or. That's count ZEROOR. Latest episode of my show is up. I was doing a second monthly series in addition to Nintendo Power Retrospectives, where I'm going to be going through the Star Wars Expanded Universe Legends continuity, one chunk at a time. I have a video up discussing Splinter of the Mind's Eye, how that novel came to be, and discussing the book itself. It's a very interesting story, and definitely worth checking out. Not just the story of the book, but the story in the book, but the story of the book.
So check that out, guys. I'll go next to Ian.
It's kind of like this. It's like, remember berries. Remember Nintendo. Remember Mario. Remember Zelda.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers Zelda. But yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me at www.historicnerd.com, or if you want to find me on YouTube, YouTube/historicnerd, or you can talk to me directly on Twitter at historicalnerd, because Historic Nerd was taken for some reason, but whatever. Or you can find me on the consoleexplosion.com.
Boom. And Tyler.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, The Video Game Hunter, or Hot Anime 32. Both of those names will take you to the same channel.
That's how I find you.
Yeah, I know. And you want to see all the tweets I make, usually about shows, anime, video games, some awesome pictures I find. You can follow me on Twitter, VGH32. And if you really want to, and you're feeling pretty furry at the moment, you can follow me on Fuzu.com, Video Game Hunter, and we can talk about furriness.
Awesome. Awesome. And of course, I'm your host, The Philosopher. You can find me on Facebook.com/Philosopher and YouTube.com/ThePhilosopher. Or if you want to talk to me on Twitter, it's at The Philosopher. Of course, you can find me and all these fine fellows over at theconsoleexplosion.com. And I highly recommend you guys check out our debate that Ian and Antonio, Gokado Retro Reviews, did not too long ago on whether or not the Dreamcast is overrated. I thought that was a really good conversation. Highly recommended. I'll put a link to that down below. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Bye.